This is Kentucky's Voice Radio, covering the latest state and local issues with Tom Fallbush, Bob Scott, and Jim Waters.
All right, welcome to Kentucky's Voice. I'm your host today, Tom Fallbush, and we have my co-host today, Debbie Robbins, and we've got a jam-packed show. There's a lot going on. We were just talking about this before the show today. It's like there's so much happening right now. There's so much going on in the news. It's hard to keep up with it, and both locally, nationally, our governor's out there showing himself. We've got to talk about that. Actually, we have a guest in the studio today. We're going to start off with this. We're going to talk about the Metro Council races in Jefferson County in Louisville, and if you followed that at all recently, you know that the Democrat-Republican sort of balance in that is pretty close now, which is unusual for a metro area, for a large city like Louisville to have a more of a substantial number of conservative or at least Republican or at least conservative-oriented candidates that are on the council. And so I think we're about 3 seats away from actually flipping it to more of a right-of-center council, which would be awesome because we all know that cities and urban areas are in what they call the urban doom loop. If you have a Democrat running a city, they basically destroy the city because their policies invite a lot of urban decay and crime and so then people leave, and then the businesses leave, and then the tax base leaves, and then they can't afford to pay for services. They can't pay for the police. The city starts breaking down. And it's like a cycle. It's like a loop that kind of feeds on itself, and so you want to see an example of that? Go to Detroit. Detroit is the first victim in America of the urban doom loop. Bad policies that basically hollows out a city, and it's just now a rotting shell. And so that's what happens with Democrats-run cities. And so now, fortunately, in this town, we've got a Democrat mayor that I'm not totally against. He's actually has some common sense when it comes to some issues like ICE enforcement and that sort of thing. So I've got some respect for this mayor, but still Democrat, still generally, left of center, most of his policies and instincts. But, we could have worse, but we definitely need a conservative Metro Council. So we've got about 2 minutes left. Before we go to our guest, I'm going to bring Debbie in real quick and just Debbie, what are your thoughts on that? We'll go to our guest here in the next segment. Just we need a conservative Metro Council to kind of balance this out and save the city.
Absolutely, to keep this mayor in check because he has a lot of power, and our council needs to be conservative. And I'm really proud of them because for the first time since the Metro Council came into being about 25 years ago, we have, I think, 6 or 7 chairmanships of different committees, which is really a miracle. And it's really wonderful. So we are on the upswing of doing this. And I'm really excited about the guest that we have today because he is an awesome common sense citizen right here in our city that wants to be a part of the change and to help us flip it. We do need 3 seats at a minimum. So I've been very interested in this from the beginning. I have good friends that were elected to this council 25 years ago, and it's just time for Louisville, for all of our voices to be heard throughout the county. And I know we really do lean conservative.
Terrific.
So I'm excited about it. I look forward to us talking to Lonnie Joseph. He's running for Metro Council 21. And I know when we come back, you're just going to meet a regular guy. You're going to meet one of the hardest working people in our county. And I am thrilled to death.
And what we can do to actually change the city for the better, the city needs a lot of help. We'll be right back, our Kentucky's Voice.
Now, back to Kentucky's Voice Radio, online at kyvoice.org.
All right, welcome back to Kentucky's Voice. I'm your host today, Tom Fallbush, and my guest today is guest host is Debbie Robbins. But our special guest that we're going to interview today is someone by the name of Lonnie Joseph, who is running for Metro Council, and he's running for Metro Council 21. Right. So where's 21? Well, let's pull this map up on the screen, Mr. Producer, and I'll show you the Metro Council map of the city. And I think there's, 26 districts, is that right?
20, yeah.
26 districts. Okay, you are 21. 21 is right there in the middle. It's, you're dealing with, basically the airport and what are some of the neighborhoods around that area?
The Iroquois Park area.
Iroquois Park, okay.
Starting with New Cut all the way out to Auburndale.
Okay, yeah.
Some of Southern Parkway, it's kind of gerrymandered up, cut up into different areas. We've got one side of Southern Parkway, but not the other.
Yeah.
We've got 3rd Street, we've got Wyandotte Park, we've got Prestonia, which is out Preston. To give you an idea where that's at, there's a craft pizza place out there where they do home brewing and craft pizza.
Oh, that's right.
In that area.
Okay.
It's all the way over to Proper Level Road, which includes the gaming center over in that area.
That's right. That's
so
right.
It's pretty
But you're not you're not sitting on the council now. You're running for the first time.
I'm running
right?
for
okay.
21st.
Running for the first time. Who holds the seat right now?
It would be Betsy Ruey.
That's your, and assume a Democrat or
yes, Democrat.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting when you say Republican and Democrat in this context, the Metro Council districts are actually going to be nonpartisan going forward, right? So, and that's something that the state legislature did to, I think, help kind of break the stranglehold of sort of Democratic, leftist, left-wing control over our cities in the state. Is to let's just not make these partisan anymore. Let's just vote for the person. That way, people that with more common sense values can at least get a chance. Because a lot of, let's just face it, there's a lot of straight ticket voting in this state and historically, and so I just wonder if Greenberg would have won against Dourif if it was not a partisan race. If it was just a nonpartisan race. I mean, maybe people will thought, hey, I like Dourif over this guy. I just like his personality. I don't know what he is, Republican or whatever. I just like him. Right. But so labels sometimes can work against you in heavily blue areas like this. So the nonpartisan thing, I think, will help. So speak to that. Or is it?
And it's a conversation I've had with multiple people.
Yeah.
Because they have the idea they've always voted straight ticket.
Yeah.
And during this election, if you do that, it will not place that vote for myself.
Oh, really?
Because
or for your opponent.
Or for the opponent.
Or you or for the opponent.
There's four of us in the race that I'm involved in.
Okay.
3 of one party, I'm of the other.
Okay.
And if they just hit straight ticket, they're going to have to still go back down through, and I'm number 3 out of 4 on the ballot.
Okay.
So they would have to pencil me in to give me that vote.
Okay. And so is everyone on the ticket, on the ballot at the same time? So there's no primary of this necessarily? It's all just...
No, there's no actual Republican or Democratic primary.
Right. So it's just...
Everybody is in
All right.
It's a, you want to call it single ticket ballot where they place all the Democrats, all the Republicans on one ballot.
All right. So there is no
Hey,
primary.
Lonnie, may I jump in here, guys?
Go ahead.
Sure.
Lonnie, the question here, I forget the answer to it. So will the top 2 vote getters come out of this primary and then you all go to the ballot in the fall?
Yes.
Is that how it works?
That's exactly how to work.
So it is sort of like a primary. Okay,
yes,
got it.
We're still having a primary.
I see.
But it's the top 2 vote getters in my district out of 4 that will move forward.
Okay.
It could be 2 Democrats. It could be 1 Republican, 1 Democrat.
Right. Exactly.
And we want it to be 1 Republican and 1 Democrat.
And that's
and
exactly
that's why it's
the plan.
Exactly. It's so critical, Tom, that everybody knows Lonnie's name. Lonnie, 21. Who is Lonnie?
Joseph.
What does he stand for? And why? Why are we voting for Lonnie?
Exactly.
And that he's number 3 on 21. And again, to tell the voters again that you cannot vote straight ticket and think that you're voting for Lonnie. So you've got to know his name, and if you live in his district, to go and check his name off. Go fill in that blank. It's so important. And that's the big difference this year for us in Louisville with Metro Council elections. I'm also an election officer, so I know I'm going to be answering this question 1,000 times, it feels like, that day for people. So I'm trying to let you know now. Know your district. And that's why, Lonnie, keep telling us about your district. Tell us about why Lonnie 21.
I'm a long-standing manufacturing person. I've worked in the workforce all my life. I started at 16 years old. At the age of 18, I was promoted into upper management at a printing company. At the age of 23, I moved on down to Toyota in Georgetown, Kentucky, and was in upper management there.
Okay.
I'm just one of the working class folks.
That's right.
I'm one of you. I watch my budget. My wife and I sit down weekly, monthly, and we go over our budget just like everybody else does. Money, keeping track of our money, making sure it's going in the right places, being fiscally responsible on our part in our home is something that we do just like everybody else does, especially with things being tight and crunching pennies. That's what we do.
So we need somebody that represents the average Louisvillian, the average Kentuckian. The like I said, the working class, the middle class, and that's a beautiful thing about our democracies. We have that option to put people in government that actually reflect who we are, and that's a beautiful thing. So let's talk about that. You said you obviously keep a family budget. You're very frugal in that approach to things, but as it applies to the city, is the city, are we overspending, or is there, what are some of the main issues, I guess, economically that are, you think, needs to change with our approach to the way our city runs things?
I think there's a lot of speak about transparency, but it doesn't really happen.
Okay.
It does maybe for one side of the ticket, but not the other. It needs to be full force with everybody.
Okay.
I want to dig a little deeper, find out what we're really spending our money on,
Right.
and finding out if that's the correct need, the correct place that money needs to be spent.
Interesting. Yeah.
And if not, then we need to take that and kind of mix it up, get back to the basics.
Right.
And there's a number of different topics that we could speak on. I know we're having issues with the school board here in the city of Louisville. That's a big thing because
Huge issue. Yeah. Well, how would the Metro Council impact the school board? I mean, because that's a separate sort of jurisdiction, right?
You don't really have a say-so in things, but you can still be informative, find out what's going on, discuss that even with the other party, and solve that problem. I grew up here in Jefferson County. I went to Manual High School.
Oh, yeah.
Down on Lee Street. I played sports the whole 4 years I was there.
Okay.
Again, I'm just one of the guys out here. And I pay school taxes like everybody else. My kids are older, they're out of school, but I'm still paying taxes into that
system.
fund, into the system.
Right.
And I just as a constituent, even though I'm running for Metro Council, I'm still a constituent.
That's right. But I'd say you have a lot of influence and a lot to say about things when you are sitting on the Metro Council when it comes to issues like education and the school board. So that's good. So because that school board needs some help, it needs some guidance, it needs some attention and a spotlight put on it. So that's good. So education, transparency for government, and because highlight a problem that you've seen with non-transparency in the city. I mean, have there been some areas where people have questioned where the money goes and it's not, no one's real clear about what's happening? Is there a specific case that you could bring up, or that would be, or is it just a general theme?
It's just in general.
I know
there's many facets that can be explored.
Exactly.
I know one thing I'm big on is safety.
Yeah.
I'm the president of the 4th Division Advisory Board.
Okay.
I'm a board member and the president.
Okay.
So that is a big thing with me. I've gone on a ride-along with a police officer, and to see what they're allowed to do and not allowed to do, that is kind of upsetting because we've pulled up behind somebody and they've broken half a dozen laws, and unless they had a broken taillight or a busted headlight, you can't do anything about it.
Well, that's a hot topic. So let's we've got about a minute and a half in this segment. We'll bring you back for the next segment, but I'm really curious to what your thoughts are on the morale of our police right now, because we've been through a lot over the past decade here with the Breonna Taylor riots. A lot of police felt like they were not supported in that moment, and that a lot of them were tired. We lost a lot of good police officers on the force. The force had a hard time hiring at that point. I think we brought in a lot of politicized leadership, and so what is the morale like in the police force right
It's
now?
not very good.
Okay.
Like I said, a police officer is there to do their job. They want to do their job,
Yeah.
but they're kind of handcuffed on what they can do. They'll show up for court. The person that was either written a ticket or, pulled over for murder or something like that, that was arrested for that.
Yeah.
They show up, the offender does not show up, and they just feel like it's almost a waste of time sometimes. They're very upset that they feel like they're trying to do their job, but then
Yeah.
on the other hand, it's just a slap on the wrist.
The system doesn't really support their efforts, so
Correct.
yeah, it's demotivating. Well, that's a problem. So let's talk about how we can fix that. If we get a more right of center Metro Council this time around, maybe we can fix. Let's talk about some policies that will help address that, because that's really top everybody's minds. Public safety in Louisville. I mean, it's been a crisis. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to stand for truth? Kentucky is at a crossroads, and we need voices that won't back down. This is your moment to rise, speak up, and be part of a movement that's changing the narrative in the Commonwealth. Kentucky's Voice is calling on bold citizen journalists, fearless editors, and those unafraid to speak truth in the public square. Volunteer, intern, contribute. Scan the QR code or visit kyvoice.org to join the fight. This is more than media. This is your moment. You are Kentucky's voice.
Now, back to Kentucky's Voice Radio, online at kyvoice.org.
All right, welcome back to Kentucky's Voice. I'm your host today, Tom Fallbush. We have Debbie Robbins, my co-host, and we also have a special guest. It's a Metro Council candidate for District 21, and we're going to get to him and back to him in a second, and because there's a lot going on. Debbie, we were talking about in the first segment, we have a chance in this city to actually take our Metro Council, which is, if you don't know what that means it's, Louisville's kind of run like the federal government. You've got the president, which is like the mayor, right? And then, or the mayor, which is like the president. And then you have the Metro Council, which is like Congress, right? So our Metro Council is, passes a lot of laws, legislation. They kind of help govern the city. And you can have maybe a conservative Metro Council and a Democrat liberal mayor, and it kind of balances each other out. And we don't have these crazy policies that we've had over the past several decades that empties out our cities and makes Louisville a ghost town. Because right after listen, you've seen this, Debbie. Right after Breonna Taylor, I don't know how many businesses left downtown. You could drive around and everything. I saw so many for lease signs, and so one good thing.
It's heartbreaking because we have the most beautiful city. It's historic, founded in 1797. Abraham Lincoln was down on the Ohio River when he visited Farmington all those hundreds of years ago, and because he had such a burden for slavery at that time. But we are just such an amazing city. But when the Metro Council came into being, which was a big contention for those that may be younger than us, that we didn't want to have the city divided, the city and the county put together.
Merged,
but now that we do, we have these 26 districts. Who are you out there, Louisville? Where do you live? Which district are you in? Your Metro Council person really, really wants to make your district better, but you need to speak up. And if they're not making it better, if they are focusing more on ridiculous social issues and wasting money and throwing it away instead of common sense of taking care of our roads and taking care of safety in your community and helping your businesses, then this is the time for you to find out who represents me.
That's exactly
And
right. Yeah.
it's so important. And I love being able to call my councilman and email him and saying, hey, we need a stoplight out here at, Blankenbaker and Real Road or Taylorsville Road and wherever you live in the city. You need to be able to call that person and email them, and they respond. And so having great Metro Council people that are common sense, people that have worked in our city, grown up here, lived here, been homeowners, business owners, just hardworking people. That's who we want to represent us,
Yeah, yeah.
not people with special interests.
Absolutely, yeah, exactly right. And I think the Metro Council, your councilmen are probably the closest level of government that you are connected with. If you live in Jefferson County, that's probably the first layer of government that you can reach out to that really represents you at a micro level
Yes.
in your neighborhood in a sense. So and really most politics is local. The most things that impact you from a government level are it's local politics, it's local policies, and so these people are very important to your life, and you should know who they are. Most people don't. They don't. Most people just pay attention to the national stories, because let's face it, our national media is the most prominent media, and that's all they cover is national news. So that's why we're here as Kentucky's Voice, to focus on, hey, you also have a lot of local issues going on, and they impact you more than the national stuff. So
Totally. I agree with you. And, to me, again, I said before on the show, like you said, politics is local. So on the local level, you vote for the man or the woman. And we have a phenomenal man here today that wants to represent us. But the other thing that concerns me, Louisvillians, is remember, this is now a nonpartisan race.
Yeah.
So even though we have a great Christian conservative man in the studio today, you've got to know his name. If you live in his District 21, you've got to be able to vote for Lonnie and color in that dot on your ballot. Because if you do straight party, it will not count. So we're excited he's here.
Let's talk about this. Immigration is a huge issue, right? And
Yes.
there are these sanctuary cities around the country, like Minneapolis, and and so Louisville could have went that route. We had some sanctuary city policies, and but thankfully our mayor has some sense, and he said we're not going to necessarily do that. We're going to cooperate with ICE, and so, but. Lonnie, let's talk about that. What are some of the things that we can do as a city to help the immigration issue? Because I think we really only have barely started this deportation effort that really has to happen, and it's going to impact everybody's cities and counties, and so what can the Metro Council do, and what's happening on that front that you're encouraged about? So,
I think Mayor Greenberg made the right decision by deciding that we're not going to go that path, and that we're going to go down a different road where there is area for immigration, but it has to be legal immigration, not illegal immigration. I have a lot of Hispanic, Latino, Cuban neighbors in my Wilder Park neighborhood,
right.
and I work with them every day. We have a community center, and we have a Guatemalan church that goes there, and I deal with them on a weekly basis, and I think we're doing the right thing to take that step. You have to take charge and cooperate, and that's what we've not seen in other states,
Right.
and we see what's happening.
Yeah.
We had peaceful protests recently, last week, that there were peaceful protests. We didn't have any issues. The police didn't have to get involved in anything like they are nationally,
Yeah.
not only ICE and things like that. And it can be handled the proper way.
Right.
But again,
As
there
a
has to be-
Metro Councilman, Lonnie, what would you suggest? What would be one suggestion you would take right in if you're elected tomorrow? Let's say if you got there today
On that issue.
to
on that issue.
reaching across the divide between the two parties and explaining that we need to work together on this and all the positives that we can have that come from that. Not just fighting because I'm of one party, you're of another party. We share in this. I want to see not only my community, but the city thrive.
Yeah.
And that is part of it, is you have to work together
Yeah.
as a bipartisan group
Yeah.
to get that to happen.
Yeah, depending on the jurisdiction and the area and the Democrats that you're working with, or the people on the other side, sometimes though they're so entrenched and they're so ideological they just want to be an opponent and be a foil to everything you do. And so sometimes you can't get that cooperation. And so now in Louisville, and I think we can. I don't know the personalities enough of all the left-leaning Metro Council district, but we do have a mayor at least. And so if the Metro Council is dominated by a more conservative body, then they can just pass some things. But then you still have to cooperate with the mayor. And he does seem to have a pragmatic approach to things. I can say that. And so I guess that's where that will play in.
And the first thing you have to do is get the majority in the Metro Council.
That's it.
And that's what I'm planning on doing. My goal is at the general election, I'll be elected the next Metro
it.
Council 21
That's step one.
council member.
Yeah.
And then once we get the majority, we have that in our favor, we can start working towards that.
Good deal. Good deal. And you mentioned the Cubans, and they're a wonderful demographic to this city. Very conservative. They're very aware of what all this left-right stuff is about. They just came from the socialist utopia of Cuba and they know that it doesn't work. And so when it comes to supporting conservative candidates, I think you probably have their support.
Yes.
And are you sensing that?
Yes.
in your area?
I've
Okay.
the pastor at the Guatemalan church that
Yeah.
I work with, he's already thrown his support my way. We have I attend Southeast Christian Church. I've been going there for 46 years.
All right. Awesome.
A member
great
for
church.
44, so we have
Very
a
good.
Hispanic church
Yeah.
outreach on that. They're throwing their support my way.
Yeah.
So.
Those that are citizens, that can vote.
And
yeah.
I'm excited about that. And I wanted to throw in, if you all wouldn't mind, that
Please.
we have in Louisville, we have the second largest Cuban community in the country.
Yeah.
And they are extremely conservative. And many of them, they've come here because of asylum, horrific issues, and they've done it the right way. And
exactly
so
right.
I'm thrilled that they will be supporting Lonnie. And also we have a 3rd district candidate for Congress. Her name is Maria Rodriguez, who is
That's right.
Cuban. And
Yeah.
she, and hopefully you all will get to work together. And this will be great. I'm excited for
Yeah,
Lonnie.
Lonnie, stay around one more
Metro
segment.
21.
One more segment, and we'll talk some more about this. But yeah, the Cubans are awesome. I'll tell you some stories about the Cubans in next segment. So here we go.
Now, back to Kentucky's Voice Radio, online at kyvoice.org.
All right, welcome back to Kentucky's Voice, and we have a special guest today, Lonnie Joseph, who's running for Metro Council District 21, which is right around the airport, that area, and central Louisville. If you kind of look at the map of Jefferson County, it's you throw a bullseye, you hit the middle, it's like right there. He's right there in the middle of the county. And matter of fact, I'll pull up the district map just for fun, Mr. Producer. There we go. If you live in this area right here, the bullseye of the city, District 21, that's his district, and that's he's a conservative. Now these, as we mentioned earlier, these are not partisan races anymore. The state has changed that, so these are nonpartisan races. So even though he is a registered Republican and a conservative, you won't see that on the ballot, and so you'll just see his name along with some other people. So you got to know his name. Lonnie Joseph, and you got to know the name of all the other conservative Metro Council people that are in your district at least. So look at that map again. Why don't you go to this map again, Mr. Producer? I recommend that anybody at home go to the LouisvilleKY.gov, look for this map, and you can click on that. I believe you can click on that district, and it will show you. Well, no. Well, anyway, there's a place on here that shows you who your person is. All right. And pay attention if you've got a conservative that's running or that's in there now, to vote for him again, because you won't. Voting straight ticket isn't going to get him. It's not going to work this time. You got to know his name or her name, and so we encourage you to do that. Debbie, before the segment ended,
Yes.
I was going to say I said I had a funny story about the Cuban, not a funny story, an interesting story about our Cuban American neighbors here that have come to Louisville. Like I said, the second largest population of Cubans in the country are right here in Louisville. And let's face it, I'll just say this: if you're going to have Hispanic immigration, of all the demographics I would choose from, it would be the Cubans, because they get it. They get it on a real deep level. And here's an example: I had a lady that worked with me, and this is during the Breonna Taylor riots and all this stuff, and she came to me with this real just somber look, and she goes, and she calls me Mr. Tom. That's just because she works. And so Mr. Tom, what is wrong? What is wrong with you all? This is just like it was in Cuba. This is just the same stuff I was seeing in Cuba. I mean, I'm just not making this up at all. So she on a gut level knew that this was a left-wing sort of communist ideology, insurgency. All this, it's basically just race communism is what we dealt with in the past, 4 or 5 years. And they got it. And she was like heartbroken over it because she came to America, escaping all that garbage. And now the city that she's invested in, and she sees it coming here. And she was genuinely scared. She was genuinely worried.
I agree.
So
I hear you. And, ironically, we have a young woman named, I'm so thrilled we have Lonnie here today for Metro Council 3021, excuse me. But we also have Maria Rodriguez, who will be running for 3rd District Congress against our guy right now. His name just slipped out of my mind.
McGarvey.
Morgan McGarvey, but who does sound like a socialist communist.
Yes.
Where Maria, she has the same story. Her family, she said from childhood on, as early as she could remember, all she heard about was the dream of coming to America from her mother, who was a single mom raising children, who was very pro-life, Catholic, being constantly persecuted, put in jail twice for her trying to protect the unborn. And Maria, from the time that they had the courage, her mother went to the Swiss embassy in Cuba to file as a refugee. From that moment, it took 11 years to get her family out of Cuba. And which is why they are even more adamant about legal immigration.
Right, because they know what it took to get here. Exactly right. Well,
and they love this country, and they're citizens now. So Maria Rodriguez, keep her in your mind. And we also have other Republican candidates, and I don't know as much about them, so I'm not trying to put her over them.
Oh, no,
I just want you to know her story.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So what a story. That lady, I bet she was terrified, I'm sure.
She
thinking,
was.
What in the
She
world?
really was. And it just really hit it so deep. It's like somebody, so the people that really understand America best are the people that sometimes see us from a distance, because they kind of see the context of America compared to the rest of the world, because they've experienced the rest of the world. So many of us in America, we've only experienced our little experience, so we get these ideas sometimes. And so for example, I tell all my leftist friends, okay, if you love socialism so much, let's go on a trip. Let's go. Let's go to Venezuela. Let's go to Havana, and let's see how it works, and see if you want to change your town. Anyway,
And may I, if I can, I know you're going to bring
Please,
him
go
back
ahead,
in, but if I could share a quick story, I was one of those. I spent a summer in Colombia, South America.
Oh yeah.
And almost did not get to come home.
Yeah.
The day before leaving, the family I was with, the car was stopped. They arrested the driver, who was the son of the people we were staying with. Fortunately, he was the head of the hospital. I'm sorry, the president of the university and the head surgeon at the hospital. And only by the grace of God, because of who he was, we were gotten out of that predicament.
Goodness.
But that's what they do there, because their police, sadly, their police force is corrupt,
Very
because
corrupt.
they're threatened by the cartel every day.
That's right.
I don't want that to happen to America. I'm
right.
glad we're blowing up boats every day, getting rid of drugs.
That's
because if our police get ingrained, it's just, God bless the ones that do come and that are righteous about it and
They're
do it the
legal,
right
right?
way.
Exactly right. And there's an
To
argument.
teach us and remind us.
That's right. And now there's an argument that even with legal immigration, we probably have overdone it over the past 50 years, and it's probably time to put a pause on that. I'm very pro-immigration conceptually, but I think just practically, we kind of overdosed on it, and so we probably need to just pause. It's kind of like you ate a really big meal. Well, you don't eat the next meal. You got to let it digest, and so we've kind of done that as a country, and that's kind
or
of
maybe go on a fast.
Maybe go on a fast. Right, exactly. Right, that's right. It's called
because I think President Eisenhower was the last one who did that.
Yeah.
And that was what really helped, I think, our culture to assimilate and for America to have the beautiful identity that we had, which so many of us are afraid after 20 million people crossing a border who have no intention of assimilating, and many of them are criminals.
That's right.
That, even when I hear Lonnie say, well, the Guatemalan church or this church, I'm sorry, it's an American. If I want you to be an American, And I'm sorry if that sounds cruel or harsh, but this is an amazing country.
Yeah. The
And
goal is
people
for them
like
to assimilate.
Maria.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
goal is for them to
yes,
assimilate. Yeah,
assimilate.
right. Yeah,
So yeah,
you can still celebrate your culture on some level, but you
yes.
need to come to America and with the desire to become like Americans. You know, if not,
Right.
you're coming just to colonize, and that's not what
And
America's about. And so anyway, Lonnie,
that's not going to work.
we can go on a little.
Oh, you're
we
fine.
can debate it. We're doing a little show here. Let's go back to you. Okay, so you're running, and so any comments on anything we just said there? I'm just kind of we're just riffing.
Yeah, I
here.
think it's a right and a privilege to be American.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's people that are coming, that are migrating to the United States, want to become an American.
Right.
Again, they don't give up their heritage, they don't give up their language,
Yeah.
but they should learn to speak English. They should want and learn to become an American.
That's right.
And,
That's right.
And you hear a lot of success stories
That's right.
from numerous people.
That's right. And many immigrants have that dream and desire and that willingness. But there's a balance to that because if you have so many immigrants, then they don't get a chance to actually rub elbows with Americans. They just come to this country and to this land, and then land in a little community where they just rub elbows with people just like them. So they don't really become part of America. They're just a little colony. And so numbers matter. Numbers matter. And so
Totally.
it's just at the end of the day, it's just all about numbers and assimilation. But anyway. Listen, Metro Council, this is exciting, and what's another topic that you're passionate about that you thinking that we can help change with the city, and can we demerger? Can we break up this merger thing? Can we just go back to the county and city? Come on.
That happened a long time ago
Yeah.
when I was a lot younger. So,
All right, well,
but I don't know if they would be
can't
on
take a
board
vote on that.
to
Can't
do
take
that.
a so all right.
I
well,
could bring it up, but
bring it up. Let's get back to the county.
I just think, like I said, there's, again, it kind of goes back to what you talked about, people, legal immigration,
Yeah,
and everybody learning how to work together, whatever heritage that you have.
right.
I want people to be an American
That's right.
and work together. I may not have all the greatest ideas. They may have great ideas.
That's right.
And it's my job as the next Metro Council member to assimilate that and take that to the next level
Yep.
and get those ideas across the finish line.
That's right. That's
So
right.
I would be a spokesman for District 21
Right.
and Metro Council as a whole.
As a whole. Well said.
Right.
Well, what about social issues? Right now, cultural, social issues are pretty hot button. I don't know if the Metro Council can impact things like that. But what if, what about passing a law that says, men can't go into women's bathrooms or something, or men shouldn't play in women's sports? Or, I mean, can we do any of that sort of, I wonder if we have the jurisdiction to cover those type of issues in the Metro Council. Is that?
To back up what the president's already done.
Yeah,
and
that's
Right.
something
the
that
Congress
I
will
would
do.
love to explore
Yeah.
because I've got grandchildren. Between me and my wife, we have 19 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren, boys and girls, and I don't want that happening.
Right.
I've got twin great-grandsons that are just a year and a half old.
Right.
I want them to play in men's sports, boys' sports.
That's right.
My granddaughters, I've got a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. I want them to be safely involved in women's sports. I don't like the idea of a guy going into a women's locker room
Right.
and changing clothes and things like that. So that's
right.
something that I'm all for.
Yeah, there's definitely some overlap there with, I think, the jurisdiction of the county and the city, and when it comes to those sort of issues like LGBT issues and all that. So I think you've got the right instincts there on having a lot of concern about, how that agenda has probably overstepped its purpose, and so.
And I think that's what it has done.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's overstepped the boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the path you choose to go,
That's right.
then I don't have a problem with that. But
That's
I
right.
just don't like the idea of it being in the forefront
Yeah.
and people trying to push it in your face.
And our children's faces.
Yeah, and our children's
that's
especially.
right. Exactly
So-
right. Yeah, teaching
Our
kids.
traditional values are invaluable to the world, and having great conservatives running our city who have common sense would be a thrill. And Lonnie, I want you to be our Metro Councilman representing District 21.
Lonnie
so
Joseph.
much.
Lonnie Joseph. Vote for him and look for your district councilman as well and vote for the conservative. We'll be right back.
Kentucky's Voice is your home for real news, real people, and real answers. But we can't do it without you. Your financial support helps us bring truth to the forefront, hold leaders accountable, and give a voice to the people of the Commonwealth. Join the fight today. Give online at kyvoice.org or text KYVoice to 53555. Every gift makes a difference. Stand with us. Speak up. Stay strong. You are Kentucky's voice.
Now, back to Kentucky's Voice Radio, online at kyvoice.org.
All right, welcome back to Kentucky's Voice, and we have my co-host today, Debbie Robbins, and we were just talking about how much is going on. There's a lot happening right now, locally, nationally, and so we want to spend the last segment just talking about some hot-button stories right now, and just we can kind of cover several of them quickly. I'd just like to get your quick thoughts on this stuff, Debbie.
Andy Bashir. I forgot about
I was
him.
going to say, I was just going to go to that. So, Andy was on The View this week and is really showing himself. And there we go. There's our Andy King's picture. And King Andy was there. And of course, he was commenting on specifically vetoing that law that about, transgender surgeries and all this. And using faith, using his Christian faith is the reason why he vetoed this law, and it was so repulsive to people of faith, and so it was such a terrible critique. And anyway, what are your thoughts on that? I've got a quote from Rand Paul on what he said, but what are your thoughts on that?
Well, my immediate thoughts as you were speaking are Galatians 6:7. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. His arrogance is staggering. And secondly, don't pimp Jesus.
Yes.
This is a conservative show,
That's right.
and we are Christian conservatives. I am absolutely flummoxed at this guy, to use a Rush Limbaugh word.
Yeah.
I remember that from way
that's
back in
right.
the day. Thinking, what in the world? Are you that desperate for
Right.
power and identity
I've
that
got
you
the-
would sell your soul to the devil?
Yeah, I've got the clip. Let me play it real quick. This is him on The View. I'm sure this has already been played several times this week but let's just play it again for just the sake of it. And Mr. Producer, you got
especially in a world with social media where everyone's looking for the next authentic thing. For me, that's my faith. Most of the decisions I make are based on that golden rule that says we love our neighbor as ourselves, and that parable of the Good Samaritan that says everyone is our neighbor. And so when I've taken actions like vetoing the nastiest piece of anti-LGBTQ legislation that ever came through my state, I described it in those terms. I said my faith teaches me that all children are children of God. And I didn't want people picking on those kids.
There you go. So this is what Rand Paul had to say about that. Christian, Rand Paul, I've had some issues with him lately, but he's spot on here. He says, twisting Christianity to defend irreversible procedures on minors is not faith, it's politics. Real compassion protects children from permanent harm and puts parents back in charge. Good luck, Andy Bashir, in making child mutilation a centerpiece of your presidential run. And that was well said, Rand Paul. So.
Yes, all I can think of too is, Jesus saying you might as well wrap a millstone around your neck if you're going to hurt little ones.
These little ones, yeah.
As a mom, as a daughter, but especially as a mom and an aunt, it's just unfathomable. And as a teacher, I've taught throughout my life private lessons, voice lessons. I meet so many precious young people and mentor young women. This is unconscionable. It's a desperate attempt for, I don't know, but
it's toxic
God,
empathy.
please.
It's toxic
Yeah.
empathy. It's like he uses it's suicidal toxic empathy. It's like
There you
I'm
go.
so loving. I'm so loving. I will just love everything, and even the snake that wants to bite me, I want to love it. And it's we're just sick of that garbage. It's just people are hopefully wise enough. But anyway, okay, that's a topic I wanted to cover.
He cannot
also.
lead.
Yeah, he cannot lead, and we're our job, if we do nothing else on this show, is to highlight to the world Andy Bashir's failures, because he wears the skin suit of a moderate, right? But he's
Yes.
a radical leftist at heart, and skin suit of a Christian moderate. I'm a Bill Clinton Democrat. You can go back to me. It's going to be the '90s again. Come on.
I'm
Let's
carrying
go.
my Bible
I
under
carry
my
my
arm.
Bible, just like but he's really a hardcore leftist who's hugging the trans people and wanting to mutilate your kids and locking up your churches and throwing Christians in jail but keeping the liquor stores open but locking up the Christians. Authoritarian
Yes.
weirdo. It's just a liberal fascist. And so
Yes.
anyway, okay. Another story is we have this shooting yesterday. Another transgender shooting. All right, another one. So Canada this time, but we've got like 10 people killed, and it was just it's funny when the headlines first came out. It was woman in dress shoots and kills 10 people. So it's like it was like a
Okay.
code of like, well, why do you got to say it's a woman in a dress? And it's like, well, it's because
I'm a woman, and that's an insult. And that is
yeah,
absolutely
absolutely.
not true.
Right.
Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
It's mental illness.
That's right.
And my heart grieves for people that are trapped in that situation. But we've got to call it what it is. And they need help, and we need justice. And but by lying about it and codifying it and coddling this ridiculous, horrifying behavior is just we cannot do it anymore.
Mr.
We
Producer,
just cannot.
can we go to this screenshot? There's a wonderful meme that I've shared before, but it's worth sharing every time this happens, and it's called The Slippery Slope, and it's a little cartoon that shows just where we are and how we got here. And so it starts off at the top there with, hey, just let us get married. That's all we want. Just let us get married. And then the next step is, and it's called, remember, it's a slippery slope, right? So you're kind of going
Right.
downhill every step of the way. The next step is, hey, just bake our cake. That's all we want. Just bake our cake. You have to do it, but just bake our cake. That's all we want. Then it's, now just use our pronouns. Just use our pronouns. Just call us whatever we want to be called. Okay. And then the next one, now just let us dance and drag for your children. You just let us do that. Come on, let us dance and drag for your children. And then the next one is let teachers choose your kid's gender. Come on, let the teachers choose your kid's gender. Come on, you bigot. Let us do this. And then the next is, now let us buy infants from surrogates. As a gay couple, let us buy an infant from a surrogate parent. We can just traffic in children. Let us do that. And then the last one is, and this is what the meme says. It says, "You are here," and it's a quote. The demons are telling us to kill Christians. The demons are telling us to kill Christians, and it's exactly right. It's like this is where it went from, hey, let's just treat us fairly and let us get married, to. And we warned everybody. This is what's going to happen. To okay, now we're going to kill the Christians, and it's happening. And so, because these are Christian schools that these transgenders go into every time, and it's just sick, and it's demonic, and people that have any sort of spiritual discernment pick up on that. And so, but anyway, Debbie, what are your thoughts?
It's very. I just don't even know what to say anymore because it's so disturbing. But it's people like that want a relationship without rules, but you can't have a relationship without rules. We have to have, and for us, it's God's word, which is for our health, it's for our goodness, it's for our entire system of law in America is built on scripture. If you go to the Supreme Court and you stand outside, you go to any building in Washington, D.C., scripture is everywhere. That's our foundation. And you cannot I know Jesus went after the one when they talk about the 99 sheep and there's one behind, but it's different than going and bending all biblical authority for 0.5% of the population that is dealing with this problem. That is not good. Yeah. And I want to encourage the people that are in the psychiatric world, psychology, to be honest and to go back and do honest studies, not skewed studies. This is a disorder. This is a problem. These people need love and help, but to coddle this behavior and try to normalize it is so distressing to children. They say, I remember Dr. James Dobson, bringing up a little boy. I read his book, Bringing Up Boys, talked about the origins of homosexuality. He said when a child sees pornography or anything, even if it's between a man and a woman, anything before the age of 5, that drastically absolutely messes them up. So when a child goes to see a drag queen reading a book, there's a million questions going off in that little mind of that child. And we just really need for medicine. I hope that Secretary Kennedy will include this in his MAHA, Make America Healthy Again.
Yeah.
Mental health. These
health,
people
right.
need mental health help.
And spiritual help, exactly right.
And
yeah.
spiritual help, absolutely.
I really think a lot of this stuff, this drag queen stuff, it's really just child abuse. I mean, I was talking to one of my cousins, and they were like, "Yeah, we went to one of these things, and there's nothing wrong with it." And it's like, it's like they were being sexual. And it's like, well, just the very fact that you bring a child to someone who is cross-dressing and claiming they're another sex is sexual. It is by very nature dropping that idea into the child's mind, and it's it's abusive. Yeah.
It is, and they're not dressing like Mrs. Doubtfire.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right.
They're not
That's exactly
dressing,
right. Some little Victorian dress.
mean,
it's a bunch of lascivious stuff. So anyway, but it's terrible.
It's
We did have a text that came in. I wanted to make this point, and it's really a good point. He goes, there is no party affiliation for JCPS board for the JCPS board or judges.
Right.
And Metro is stuck with Democrats in education and our courts. So nonpartisan voting has not benefited us. Well, that's interesting. I never thought about that aspect of it.
It's the big debate, and we've been debating it in the Republican Party. I mean, both parties have. And I will say it's very infuriating not to know where a judge stands. And people just don't have the time to go back and look at case after case after case of judges and see how they came down and what they wrote about. So we have to be very discerning. But again, I have to say to people, if you're going to take a lot of time, if you're going to watch a 3-hour football game, if you are really, really concerned about where you live, and because politics affects you no matter what. You may say, oh, I don't care about politics. Well, it cares about you.
It cares about you.
So you've got to do your research. You've got to do your due diligence. So we're trying to think of other ways. I hope we get to have a guest on soon. We're playing phone tag right now, a young woman who is trying to help us to know transparency in choosing judges for sure. But as far as these Metro Council people, you can go to Facebook pages now. There's tons of information. So he's right. He or she, whoever wrote that, is right. And as far as the school board, same thing. But you can go find out about them. You can find about what organizations do they donate to? Where do they go to church? You can find out a multitude of things that will give you clarity when you go to vote.
Right.
And again, for Lonnie, I know that Lonnie, Metro 21, I know he's a conservative Christian man with common sense values. And those of you that live in Metro 21, vote for Lonnie. But if you don't, and you're in another Metro district where you have several candidates, do your due diligence. It doesn't take long.
Beautiful.
That's what I have to say about that.
Good stuff. Great way to wrap up the program. So vote for Lonnie Joseph, District 21, and vote for your conservative in your Metro Council district. We can flip this year. We'll be back.